Scott Hallenbeck, he's led USA Football since 2005 as its CEO and executive director, and it must not be that stressful because he still looks so young. Kind of looks like Superman, like Clark Kent a little bit when he comes up here. Scott oversees every aspect of USA Football and consistently answers the call for our athletes who love to play this game. He continues to lead the charge to advance football on the youth and high school level, and even in just the past few years, we've seen great strides and improvement on how the sport is taught and played. Scott is going to take us through how athletes, coaches, parents, and administrators can work together and win on and off the field. Please welcome USA Football CEO and Executive Director, Scott Hallenbeck.
Thank you, man.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate the Clark Kent, too.
No problem.
All right. Welcome to the 4th Annual USA Football National Conference, the largest we've ever had. Over 1,000 attendees representing all parts of our country. In addition to our friends from Australia, Kenya, Mexico, Nigeria, Panama, and Canada. Thank you all for coming and making time to be with us. And thank you, General, for those very inspiring and incredibly important words and messages. It is critical that we all come together to address the challenges facing football and unify around the solutions. We all remember in 1905, President Teddy Roosevelt gathered football stakeholders around the safety and advancement of our game. And it resulted in better equipment, playing rules, and innovative approaches to the game. This conference and your presence here represents another opportunity to continue the game's evolution and advancement with forward-thinking solutions similar to that of President Roosevelt's. This is going to be an information-packed weekend. We're going to hear from speakers and leaders from all levels of football on topics under the broad category of professional development. We will share information, best practices, continuing education, and most importantly, insights and feedback from all of those in the trenches living these experiences every day. As we know, we're at another critical milestone in the game's history, where leaders must set the path forward, as has been done repeatedly since football's inception nearly 150 years ago. Now, as I look around, I see football's true leaders. I see youth and high school coaches, administrators, who shape the game every day and work with countless athletes in communities nationwide. The goal of this conference is to convene football leaders, to learn from each other, to build trust, and to map our collective pathway forward, much like you do at the start of the football season with the goal of building a successful football team. From my view, USA Football and the other important football stakeholders are here to support and serve you along the various ways in our path forward. But there's really no more important group than you, the coaches, to ensure we deliver on the promises and the solutions. Now, sports have played a very integral role in my life. From childhood to present day, I played many sports, including youth and high school football. And I was fortunate enough to play basketball in college. My football playing experience, they aren't filled with state championships or glorious wins or great individual or team statistics. Because during my high school days and my football experiences, we were often 1-9. Ever had a season like that? Now, I played quarterback, and thus I bore more responsibility for our less than stellar performances. So as you might imagine, There were many days in the heat of August, or the cold of December, or just after a particularly bad game, that I questioned football. Yet the power of team, of perseverance, of responsibility and accountability, that's what made me return to every practice and every game. I'm often asked, what makes football different than other sports? Now, it's a fact that other sports teach values. So what is unique about football? As I reflect on my football experiences, I can point to at least two things that make football different. First, the game doesn't discriminate. The general talked about it. The diversity in the huddle is incredible. Anyone can play flag or tackle football. It takes all shapes and sizes. They're all needed. This game transcends all socioeconomic communities, and it's a sport that you don't have to specialize in at an early age. So think about this. Many consider sport specialization to be the greatest issue facing youth sports today. And that leads to some 70% of kids opting out of sports by the age of 13, often due to burnout. Clearly, that's a significant concern. But here's how football's different. Football's youth participation numbers, they steadily increase from 6 to 15. In addition to that, 33% of high school football players start playing the game for the first time their freshman year. Now, I'm not aware of any other sport that can boast those numbers. In fact, one of our next speakers is a living example of this. Roman Oben played for the first time in high school football after his family relocated from Cameroon. And then he went on to earn a college scholarship at the University of Louisville. He eventually went on to become a Super Bowl champion. Now, the second important distinction between football and other sports is it teaches you, when you get knocked down, to get back up. Trust me, I was knocked down most of my playing days. And yes, I can still smell the grass beneath me. Let's be very clear about this. Let's state the facts. Football is a contact sport. And in every single play, someone, often many players, are knocked down, and they have to get back up. Now pause and consider that. Football makes you confront life's obstacles and challenges. Football helps you learn that life is about trial and error, trial and success. As I think about my life experiences, and I'm nearly 50 years old, I can unequivocally confirm that the journey is competitive, to say the least. There's competition in your work, in your school, in sports, in nearly every aspect of life. Football teaches you to become better prepared for life's ups and downs. Now, I'm not suggesting that football is the only sport that teaches accountability and perseverance and leadership. But unlike any sport I know, football demands that you get back up. And what's truly special and unique about football is that moment when you're not sure if you can get back up. Who comes in to pick you up? Your team. The brotherhood of football is real and life-altering. Brotherhood and the critical life lessons of picking yourself up after each play is why I'm incredibly proud that my son Ryan competed in football throughout high school. Now, while he's going to go on and play another sport in college, he often recalls football's important lessons as the reasons for his continuing success. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Right now, the football community, we face adversity that requires all of us to continue to get back up, but we have to do it together. As the general said, it's time for us to come together and be the ultimate team force, to not allow ourselves to stay down or not respond when new challenges present themselves. Now more than ever, your players, parents, administrators, and your respective communities are all watching to see if you get back up. Now, I've led this organization for nearly 12 years, and I understand the challenges facing our game, specifically the safety concerns. So I'm incredibly confident and proud to state that if you had to choose any other time in the course of history to participate in our sport, you'd choose right now. Collectively, over the past 5 years, we have all come together. We've evolved and advanced how we teach and play this sport. We have demonstrated the ultimate team. We continue to work hard to address the challenges. Across the country, coaches are becoming better educated, learning the health and safety measures, adopting practice guidelines, reducing contacts in practice and whenever possible. And most importantly, you're demonstrating newfound openness and willingness to evolve so coaches like you can look parents in the eyes and you can say, I care about this game. I care about your child. And I'm learning and adopting the latest technical and safety measures to provide a positive experience for all my players. As an example, USA Football, we've certified over 140,000 coaches in 2016 alone. That's a dramatic change in the last 5 years. But we're committed to doing so much more. As the general said, we are going to come together, all of us. We're going to improve our resources, our support, whatever we need to do to help all of football advance and get stronger. We're going to work together. USA Football will provide the right set of educational and training resources to fuel your professional development and continue education for all coaches. This is a powerful and critical statement to parents in your communities. They need to hear from you. They need to know that you're embracing change and what you're doing to deliver a smarter and safer football experience for their children. So how can USA Football help? Let me share a few examples. Start with the all-important and all-player skill of tackling. You just went through a very important demonstration. We recognize there was confusion in the marketplace relative to heads-up tackling and hawk tackling. So we reached out to Coach Carroll and Rocky Seto, the Seattle Seahawks, and we asked them, do we agree that USA Football and the Seattle Seahawks were never in this to create a brand of tackling? Rather, we're here to offer a consistent set of techniques and terminology to simplify tackling. As you expect, Coach Carroll completely agreed. So we worked together. We removed the titles around our tackling and used the generic term shoulder tackling. The fact is, we were always striking with the shoulder. It was part of our program. And so we both agreed that we're going to work together and merge our approaches to make sure that we delivered a simple tackling program. We turned it into a comprehensive shoulder tackling system. And we've earned the support of the Seattle Seahawks, and we came to consensus with the Seahawks, the American Football Coaches Association, USA Rugby, and of course, USA Football's football and medical advisory committees. Now, as far as I'm aware, this collaboration, this consensus, is the first of its kind and an incredibly important step forward for all of us. Let's talk about youth football. We're looking at innovative ways of testing new entry points to the game. Parents have asked us for options and for a clear pathway for how players can progress and evolve in football. We did a survey of over 1,000 high school head coaches. It showed that they want more connection points with their youth programs to build continuity of teaching, terminology, and messaging that ultimately can be shared with parents. And this was really important. We asked them, what should be the child's first experience in football? Overwhelmingly, the coaches said tackle football should not be the child's first experience in football. It should be flag football. Now today, a player generally has two options, flag football or 11-person tackle. We believe it's time to include a bridge between flag and 11-person tackle to allow players to progress at the right age and right stage. So as we considered this interesting approach, we spoke to other national governing bodies. We learned that tennis lowered the nets and shrunk the courts. We learned that hockey plays half ice and removed checking. Similarly, we need to look at our game and consider adding new options for participation. So this past season, we began testing a new style of game. The working title is modified game. It's a simple concept. The game has 7 players per side. You play on half field, so you can have 2 games going on simultaneously. You have no special teams. You only get into a 2-point stance. And each player plays multiple positions, an interior position and a skill position. What we learned was kids were having more activity in the game. They're running more than double their counterparts in 11-person football. They played additional downs. In essence, they got more football opportunities. They played multiple positions and had a more positive experience. It was the high school coaches who actually said to us, this feels more like real football. It's not just the fast kid who runs the sweep around the end and runs for a touchdown every play. So during this conference, we're going to demonstrate the modified game, as well as have a question and answer period that will be led by one of the top high school coaches in Ohio, Coach Chuck Kyle. And we're going to continue testing the modified game in 2017. But for now, we envision the youth game pathway will include flag football, modified football, and 11-person football. Now, I am not here to state the right age to play tackle football. I believe that children develop at different ages and stages, and thus it's ultimately the decision of the parent and the player. But we do want to make sure that we provide more options and specifics around each playing opportunity. And then correspondingly, we want to make sure that the country's most highly trained coaches will share and teach the right football skills and drills for each game model. So players are taught those right skills at the right point in their development. So ultimately, working systematically, players will develop fundamental skills that will compound as they advance and develop their football IQ, their capacity, and they work their way up the pathway to 11-person football. That said, keep in mind that a player could decide to play flag football from 5 years old to 55 years old. It's a lifetime of playing football. Now, high school football. High school coaches are professionals, and they seek professional development. The game pathway already exists, freshman to junior varsity to varsity. So the important opportunity is to provide all coaches with that educational pathway. Head coaches have often told us they need and want educational opportunities for their assistant coaches. We often hear that coaches have different levels of skill in their staff. Some are great X and O coaches, while others might not understand the scheme, but are great at relating to players. Our solution is to offer coaches the opportunity to learn in their favorite setting, in a clinic format, watching videos through a streaming service, or reading clinic notes online, just to name a few. Coaches will help us determine the core responsibilities and help create the pathway to improve their assistant coaches. When we asked assistant coaches how to further their education, to prepare for their next coaching job, they tell us there isn't a clear pathway, and they often wing it. So USA Football can help streamline the education process in partnership with coaches and for coaches. Let's talk about protecting Friday night lights. When we learned the Big Ten was planning to play games on Friday nights, we were firmly opposed. We quickly reached out to 30-plus state high school associations and asked them to join us in a clear statement against this practice. After further research, I learned that many of the college conferences play Friday nights. Recently, the American Football Coaches Association and their membership of college coaches came out against this practice. Now, as we all know, Friday nights are sacred. They're the cornerstone of high school football across America. What you may not know, and which I consider to be very interesting, is in the 1960s, the NFL was considering playing games on Saturday nights. And as you might expect, the colleges balked. But the NFL agreed not to do it until after the college season was over. The same should apply for high school football. Most of the state high school coaches associations are here with us. And we're going to have a private meeting tomorrow with them to further discuss the issues and how we can continue to work together as a unified group to tackle the opportunities ahead for football. We're honored to have them here. And I'm confident that together we'll be a powerful force to advance the game. Now, finally, medical research. USA Football remains committed to developing the body of health and safety research on the youth and high school level. We believe research is critical to help guide our path forward as we welcome the research coming from various disciplines and many respected research institutions. USA Football, through its highly esteemed Medical Advisory Committee, is evaluating the research and will adopt evidence-based practices that are broadly supported by the experts. But we will not, however, take policy actions based on a minority medical view or limited research. Our challenge to the medical community is to find consensus on the best practices in youth contact sports. So we're looking to gather these diverse group of medical experts, and we want to host a consensus summit in 2018. Now, as for our own research, we've retained Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health to assist us in that research. We're reaffirming our commitment to evaluating our own youth football initiatives and sharing the peer-reviewed and published results no matter what the outcome. USA Football works with our Medical Advisory Committee and other medical groups with the shared goal to gain broad and clear direction from the medical community on key issues. And when that happens, USA Football will be prepared to act accordingly. Now, I suspect we all get the same questions from parents. Why should I let my child play football? But the answers may be different for many of us, since this game impacts us in many different ways. We all have a story to tell on how football impacted and changed our lives. The common themes we've heard include that football is the ultimate team sport, that football doesn't discriminate in the huddle, that football teaches lifelong values, that there is a brotherhood uniquely found through the experiences in a football team and in a football locker room that's remembered for a lifetime. Now, I believe all of these are true. And coupled with the fact that nearly 60% of our high school players today come from single parent or non-nuclear families, it screams that our society needs strong, properly trained, and prepared coaches more than ever. It is the personal attention a coach pays to his player in the most relevant and critical ways that helps that player get back up. That is what separates football from so many other sports. I was fortunate enough to attend the American Football Coaches Association CEO Coach of the Year dinner, and they were honoring the CEO of Honeywell Corporation. So I happened to be sitting next to a college coach, and he was sharing with me how proud he was to have one of his former high school players in the audience. He proceeded to tell me that when he moved back to a small town just north of Columbus, Ohio, that he started to meet all of his players. And as he came across this one young man, he realized this young man was at a serious crossroads in his life, had nothing really going for him. His father was in jail, his mother had left him, his brother died from an overdose. So the coach and his wife decided to take this young man in their house. Fortunately, the young man paid attention to the coach and his wife and his newfound father figure. He started to do well in school. He became the quarterback for their team, and he ultimately led them to a state championship. Now, if that's not a good enough story, he then proceeds to tell me, and now he's one of the 8 presidents for the Honeywell Corporation. Now that is the power of your influence. Not every coach can do that. But few others in our society have the opportunity to change the direction and the lives of young men in the way that a committed, caring, and responsible coach can. In my view, what truly makes football special and different is you, the coaches. Let's say each coach in here has 10 years of coaching experience. What that likely means that you have upwards of 1,000 kids out there that you have helped, that you've mentored, you've inspired during the most important times in their lives. And beyond that, while the everyday player who looks up to you is most likely not going to be tomorrow's NFL star, they do become tomorrow's doctors, teachers, firefighters, CEOs, police officers, and military leaders like our chairman. They are tomorrow's everyday citizens who will take the lessons and values you teach them on and off the field and apply them throughout their lives. You can be life-altering influencers and often father figures, providing much guidance and needed direction. The statements we constantly hear, football must change the narrative. We must change the culture. We've pondered and sought the answers to this. How do we do it? And you know what I realized? The answer is right here in front of us. It's you, the coaches. You're the heartbeat of football. While USA Football unequivocally has your back, you heard it from our chairman, we're all committed to supporting you. We're here to support and serve through continuing education and any resources that we can provide. But what we can't do is we can't be the narrative. Only you can be the new narrative. See, parents need to hear from you. They want to specifically hear from you about your commitment to continue education, to a positive experience, to teaching these incredible values, And yes, sharing the safety best practices. In fact, there's no one better positioned to look a parent in the eyes and say, I am football values. You're the answer to mom's ultimate question. Why should I take the risk and let my son play football? Only you can say, I've committed myself to continuing my professional development, to learn the latest in safety measures, to teach your child the incredible value this game offers, including how to get back up when they're knocked down, and the fact that you'll work every day to equip him for success to face this competitive society the rest of his life. If we do that, I believe that commitment from a coach to a parent, you'll change doubters into believers, and you'll help thousands of young men get back up in our society. So on behalf of all of us at USA Football, I want to thank you for committing yourself to be here with us, to sharing your incredible knowledge, to helping us all get better. Spend this time sharing with each other, sharing with us. Know that you have an organization that unequivocally has your back. Call on me, call on my staff. Tell us how we can help. We're here to support you in every way possible. Now go have a great conference. Thank you.